Ready, bang! Ladies and gentlemen, have you seen this? We need to zoom in on him because we've got one of the best super heavyweights happening here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ready, Bang! The number one arm wrestling podcast in the world. I am your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and I'm also the third placed left arm, 80 to 95 kilo amateur 2019 Melbourne Cup winner. It's an accolade that all these superstars want. But enough about me. Let's have a look to the other side of my screen. One of the biggest and best super heavyweights in the world. He is a WAL stalwart. You cannot mention WAL without mentioning this man. He is a worldwide puller. He's just a bee's dick, just one win away from being the best super heavyweight in the world. I call him Matt COVID Mask. It is the Wildhorse Matt Mask. Matt, welcome to the show.
How's it going, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Oh, mate, it is unreal. How are things going up there in Canada at the moment?
They're slow. It's slow. For most places in the world right now with the whole COVID shit going on, right? But it is what it is.
Oh, ridiculous. And always taking an opportunity to have a beer with ones in the world, so don't mind me as I get started. But yeah, it's just killing the arm wrestling world, this COVID garbage. It drives me insane.
Oh, it's something else, isn't it? So.
Oh, absolutely. But as we get started, I'm not sure if many people know, but you're a bit of a football star when you were in high school. What was happening there?
I wouldn't say a football star, but I played my last year of high school just because they didn't have anything in my hometown that was more of an aggressive kind of sport, and I wanted to smash heads, so I played the last year of high school and jumped in playing football. I didn't understand, didn't know how to play the game. I never really watched it. I just liked the concept of it, so I only did it for the 1 year and then a men's league during the summer, and then that was actually how I got into arm wrestling. Was one of the guys I was playing with on the men's league. Actually, we were all playing around after one practice, and I was arm wrestling the whole team, and he's like, "Man, you got a God-given gift for this. I'm going to look into it." And he looked on the internet, found a tournament, drove me down south to Wasaga Beach, and that was my first tournament that I'd ever competed in. Like, that was an actual somewhat professional tournament, and it was Devon was there, Mike Gould, Earl Wilson. So I ended up placing fourth against M3, obviously. So,
wow, you know, when a 6'5" monster turns up, I'm sure they would have just been a little bit worried. What number did you wear in football? I'm a sports fan and I'm obsessed with what number people wore. What number did you wear?
I wore 77.
Nice. So then, being 6'5", was basketball never an option? I'm a huge basketball fan, so when I see tall people, I'm like, why aren't you playing basketball?
Yeah, I'm not a basketball fan. I never enjoyed it. It was always like I was friends with some of the guys on the basketball teams, but it was the whole, "Oh, you hit me," and they'd fall to the ground kind of deal. Our vice principal was the basketball coach, and he would always try to get me in. "Matt, you got to come play basketball." So I tried out. I was doing it for a bit, and then I'd missed a couple practices. He brought me into the office, and he's like, "Matt," he says, "you can't fly with the Eagles during the day and hoot, hoot, hoot with the Owls at night, So,
burning the candles at both ends.
Really my thing.
That's all right. You picked a couple of the right sports with that. You started off with football, so you got to smash heads, and then you've got to party all night because you need to get rid of a bit of pain relief, a few brewskis after the game and things like that. So then you've gone into football. That wasn't for you. You've done the arm wrestling, 20 years in the sport, which is unbelievable. So then, how did the name Wildhorse come into play? Who gave you that nickname? How did it?
Started off, Neil Pickup originally came out with Halloween, which I wasn't too fond of. He has 3 boys at home, 2 or 3 boys at home. So Halloween for him is goblins and ghouls and zombies and all that stuff. It's terrifying and scary. For me, myself, I have 3 girls.
Yeah.
So it's all about princesses, fairies, and fuck it, So it was totally take the concept. Ended up competing at one of the regionals for WAL, and I had a buddy that actually owned a company called Wildhorse, and I was telling his says, well, we'll get you on ESPN, right? So I ended up, before we went to Vegas for the year, I got a guy with an airbrush to show up, and he spray tattooed Wildhorse all over our arms with the symbols and everything else, so we could get his name on ESPN, right? Because he had sponsored us to go to this tournament, and it just kind of picked up from there. They kind of assumed that was my name. They started calling me Wildhorse. I walked in, I'm wearing my big Wildhorse sweater, and they're like, oh, we got to cover up that logo. And they're like, oh, wait a sec, Wildhorse, that's you. Come on in. and the rest, it just kind of stuck from there. And actually, I prefer it a lot better than Halloween. It suits a little more with how I act at the table, especially being from Alberta. We got wild horses up here, right? So it kind of just goes.
Yeah, well, it's certainly better than Glitterface Matt Mask.
Yeah.
Halloween Matt Mask, yeah, that's probably something when you're 14. Halloween Matt Mask, unless you're going to come on stage and smash a pumpkin every time, then I don't think the nicknames get us.
It was corny. It was corny. He comes up with some good ones, and then sometimes. Well, like he has Jerry Caderet as the gingerbread man, right? Jerry, I know you don't like that one.
I call Jerry Caderet
like the gingerbread cookie, right? So.
Yeah, nicknames. It becomes weird. I thought it might have been from the way you get a pin and you jump up and down, you buck your feet, you smash the tables. So then, like, have you ever injured yourself celebrating? Because you've got some of the best celebrations I've ever seen. Have you ever hurt yourself during one?
I wouldn't necessarily. I didn't cause. Well, maybe I did. I created like a little small stress fracture in my hand the one time from fist fucking the table, but it'll be more of like a reoccurring something's hurting from before, and then I smack it, and then oh shit, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was the UAL tournament, and you pin the great John Brezink, and you like hold on to the table, and you're jumping up and down, smashing your feet, and I was like, oh man, if his feet aren't breaking.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm flat-footed, hey?
Yeah. It would have to be. Sometimes I see it like, might have been, it was either Nick Zena celebration, it was one of them, and you were smashing the table, and they showed the replay, and you're hitting the corner of the table. I'm like, oh man, lucky he hasn't got a left-hand match, because that would absolutely cane smashing your hand.
Yeah. Well, I've been smacking tables for a long time, right? So it's it's kind of like them Taekwondo guys chopping down trees, eh?
Yeah. There you go. I wonder if you've just come onto something. I wonder if you tell all the novice pullers to toughen up your hand. It's just to smash the table 100 times per session. Just absolutely smash your hands.
Yeah.
Now you do love with it, because you're a nice guy off the table, but you're one of the most passionate when it comes on the table. I just want to take you back to, where is it? February 22nd this year. And there was a bit of may have been a Facebook post, may not have been a Facebook post, saying there was a rumour going around that RVJ wanted to pull you.
Yeah.
What was the go with that?
I don't know. Well, he's pretty dominant in the 195-pound class, so I think it was win-win situation for him regardless, right? So, and I don't know, maybe he thought he had a chance, so he threw the name out there on one of the people he'd like to pull. He knows obviously it'd be an entertaining match, so he threw it out, and I caught wind of it, so I just kind of went with it a little bit, right? Yeah. Figured I'd bear. see to hype it up if it was going to happen. He actually took it pretty to heart.
Really?
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, we'll just hype this up. I sent him a message, or hey, buddy, blah blah. And it was more a fuck you. I'm sure you'll get over it, though. I've always been pretty close with RVJ. So
I think that's the one thing that's lacking with arm wrestling. You know, if you watch a boxing fight or a UFC fight, they need to hype it up so they attack each other. So if I'm jumping on the internet and if RVJ comes in and goes, fuck you, Matt Mask, then I want to see that match. But everyone's just like, oh yeah, nah, cool. Yeah, we'll have a pull. They need to hype it up. So I would absolutely love to see that. What's the prediction if you and RVJ pull? Best of 5, what's the prediction?
Best of 5, I'm going to say 3-0 for myself, obviously. But, you know, RVJ, he's got so many tools. He's got the hand of a super heavyweight. He's not somebody that can be taken lightly, right?
Yeah.
I just feel that I'm just that little bit better than what he is. So for the 195-pound class, absolutely, he's the man, right?
Yeah.
So, but him at 195, 210, coming to pull with the 240, 250-pound Mask, I just don't see it going good for him. That's all.
Yeah.
And that, God's honest opinion, right?
There's nothing wrong with being confident in yourself, mate. That's okay to say I'll beat him 3-0. That's not a problem at all. What are you weighing in now?
I'm a little lighter now. It's been a stressful last year or so, but I'm probably about 235-ish. So,
Bang, how are they looking? Give us the right flex. How are they looking? Look at that.
They're still there. I just lost more on the legs, eh?
You don't need them. You don't need them anyway. Yeah. So
weight's always been a struggle for me, right? Like I got the metabolism of a hummingbird, so. I'll fart and lose a half a pound, so.
Nah, I hate you. I've struggled with weight all my life. Like, you could be eating a burger, and I'd be like, oh, damn, man, that's a cool-looking burger. And then suddenly my waist goes, and then I just put on weight.
Yeah, I can eat a burger, and if I don't eat the fries, I'll lose a pound, right?
I'm putting it on the record. I officially hate Matt Mask.
Yeah, that's okay. Step in line.
So you've been able to pull all over the world. How does it sound when people say your last name different? So in Australia, we say Mask, and everyone else will say Mask.
I don't really know the difference. Mask in Australia sounds the same as mask in Canada, so it's I don't know.
But speaking of Australia, you were down here 3-4 years ago?
That was about 4 years ago now.
Yeah. How did you like it?
I loved it. Yeah.
When are you coming back?
I don't know. As soon as they asked me to come back, I guess. I'd love to go back to Australia for sure. So definitely one of the best places I've ever been to. Everybody was phenomenal. The clubs were all great. Like, all had big numbers, so much potential. I could imagine it'd be a completely different story if I was to go back now. Everybody's got another 4 years behind them. So, but I don't think I would have been able to do as much pulling if I was to go there now, like I did 4 years ago. That's for sure. So,
because you're at the
they'd be showing me some shit as opposed to me showing them, right? So.
Yeah. No, I think you'd still have a lot of us over here covered. We've grown as a community. A few of our top pullers are getting stronger, but I still think you would have them covered. Did you have any super matches while you're over here?
No, I don't think I did. No, there was no super match. It was just pretty much 6 hours of pulling a day is pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of the 10, 12 days we were there, I think there was maybe 3 or 4 days of Lou. The rest was either pulling 6 to 8 hours a day at Arnold's or putting on seminars for the different clubs and pulling everybody else there for a couple hours after. So there was a lot of arm wrestling going on.
Absolutely. But yeah, I was trying to look for some footage because I saw you doing a lot of reffing, helping out at Arnold's, and last year, Devon come over and he had a couple of super matches. Ron Barth had a couple of super matches when he come over. So that's why I was like, I wanted to see if you pulled anyone 4 years ago. But if it was just, training pool, that's annoying.
Yeah, there was no super. Like, we did a couple Kings of the Table and stuff during the Arnold Classic, but there was no designated matches, right? Yeah. So I don't think there was anybody available at the time. So.
Damn it! Well, Phil, Andrew, I know you watch the show. Get Matt back to Australia. I need to meet him in person, have a few beers with him.
You hear that, guys? Get me the fuck back there.
Get him back. I was trying to. We're supposed to have Travis Bajan this year, but with this whole COVID rubbish, it's been it's been cancelled.
Rubbish is exactly what it is.
Oh. So. Absolutely annoying. But when you mention WAL, you've got to mention Matt Mask. So going through it all, your last 2 years, I think you've been very heavily underrated. If we go through them all, 402, you smoked Barboza 3-1.
Yeah.
What does he feel like on the table? Because he's like, on paper, when you look at him, he looks like the man, but he just seems to be the second tier of super heavyweights.
No, he's definitely on. I'd say he's definitely on that top tier. He can give any of them top runners a run for their freaking money.
Yeah.
I think it was just he came in. He overtrained his bicep when he came with me. He didn't train his hand enough. I have a longer leverage compared to him. Yeah. The style angle that he was going at was just kryptonite for what I was doing to him, right? So I was manipulating, controlling his hand as he tried to come in. I just maintain the up pressure, take his hand, and he doesn't quite pull as well without his hand as he does with his hand, right?
You exposed him big time. I was watching it yesterday. You exposed him big time.
Yeah, like had he been able to turn it in and just made a few smaller adjustments, him inside, I wouldn't have been able to do anything with him. That's a guarantee.
Yeah. So. And then probably one of my favourite matches, 403. You smoked Nick Zena 3-1. Now, first thing you got to do, show us your fingers, Matt. Show us your fingers.
Which one? This one's not bad. They're fairly straight. It's this one that's...
Look at that, guys. Now, all you Novus pools out there that are complaining that your arm hurts, go watch Matt Mask versus Nick Zena. Matt Mask gets a pin, and you know what he does? Dislocates his finger and puts it back in. I've dislocated fingers before and sat 2-3 weeks out of sport. This guy put his finger back in. Bang! And then went on to win a couple of more rounds. How did that feel when it happened?
It was pretty diminishing. I was like, you got to be kidding me, because I had dislocated one a couple of years prior against Ron Bath.
Yeah.
And I thought it was over, and it was every time we set up and they said, close your thumb, put your hand down. As soon as I went to close my hand, my finger would just go sideways over the rest of my fingers, because as soon as you bend it, it would just pop out of place. So, I don't know, it hurt. But at the same time, I was thinking I was already there. I'm already in pain. I might as well try to get a reward from it. And just that pain, I just helped use to burst my adrenaline just to get it over with. And at that time, I wasn't going to play around. It was more, let's just get it over with quick. So I don't know, it helped kind of in a way just to get that extra oomph.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was pretty painful for a couple months after. So.
I could imagine. And it's funny because you say it hurt a couple of months after, but then within weeks, you pull Devon at 405. So it
was about a month and a half after.
Yeah. So did that have any bearing? Were you worried about your finger at all going into it with that match?
100% I was. Oh yeah, I was totally worried as hell about it, especially the way he was posting, doing his Queen's move that he was pulling off there. Applying a lot of pressure to them fingers. So I was pretty skeptical about it. It was bothering me a bit throughout the match. I can feel it being tender, but she never popped out again. So
yeah, that's like even though you do losing that one 3-1. It's probably one of my most favourite matches to watch. That one with Devon. So how does it feel? You're a passionate guy, and one of my favourite bits is at the end of the match, you're strapped up together, and all you got to do is look at you, and you're just saying, "Don't fucking touch me! Don't fucking touch me!" How frustrating is that when you're strapped up to someone and they've been in your face for half an hour and you just want them to go away?
Devon plays his games, right?
Yeah.
So he was always playing his games, and then I knew as soon as it was over, he wanted to be all buddy, friendly. I had felt there was a few calls that should have went different ways, and just by how he was acting and present himself at the table and the way everything had went, he had manipulated a lot of them calls, which is part of the game, right? He was able to manipulate it, and I just wasn't in the mood to be buddy touching things with him, right? Like, it was just like, right now, don't fucking touch me. It's funny because me and Devon are actually pretty good buddies, right?
Yeah.
Like, we talk on a regular basis. We message back and forth. Something comes up, we get on the horn with each other. We're always, 100% supportive of each other's matches and what they got going on. But it was funny after that. He's trying to come up talk. I was just, fuck off, man. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I go back home. I'm away from my cottage, and I see this message on my phone. It's Devon. Hey, buddy, no hard feelings. Give me a shout. I love you. And I was going to call him back, and I'm like, I think I'm going to wait a couple more weeks. Let him pester on it for a bit. So it was about another 3 or 4 weeks after that, he ended up calling me back. Are you really mad at me? No, man, I'm not fucking mad at you. I just felt like fucking making you feel like a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Man, what a story. You made him beg for your forgiveness, because I think people are going to understand, if you're going to manipulate someone and talk trash, because he's one of the best in the game. He's a ripper, and he's a ripper guy, as you said. When you guys aren't competing, I was lucky enough to meet him last year. But there's a cooling down period. You can't just sit there and scream in someone's face and say one more year and touch him after you've won, and then straight away it's over and you're like, oh, hey, mate, let's go get a beer. There's a cooling down period. And when you've got a passionate guy, you've got to let him cool down. And then that's unreal. And then it came over to 406, and you had a bit of a slip up with Jerry. What happened there?
I completely underestimated what he actually did. Every match I'd ever seen him against the top component, his hand was always bent back. I assumed he had driven in for that press. In that floppers press, he wasn't even concerned about his hand. I didn't realize he had done more of like a chop press. And he converts into a flop press. So I had set up with a game plan thinking that he was 100% going in for the flop. So I had my idea. I was going to set up when he came in for the flop, I just kind of come down over top, turn him upside down to where he'd be a vulnerable position. First match didn't quite go. Now, okay, well, maybe I just missed the goal on that one, and I'll try again. The second match was it can hurt just as much as the first one. So I was like, okay, well, that ain't working. My corner actually had Ron Bath in my corner at the time, and he's like, man, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm trying to do this and this. He said, well, that ain't working for you. He's like, man, I ain't doing that. And he says, just do what you usually do. And he says, fuck trying to do what everybody else has been trying to get in your head. He says, just do you. So I just set up, and he went into that press, and I ended up catching him. I surprised myself. I realized I was actually going to be able to hold him when he was in that position, laying on top of my arm. I felt quite comfortable. I decided to drive a couple times. When as I did, I seen his hand kind of separate away from his shoulder a bit. As he did that, I was able to drive him behind, expose his bicep, and able to give him the press. That match, I figured out the recipe for what I needed to do to be able to compete against him. Match number 4, came back in. Went to set up. I forgot half the fucking ingredients. He ended up getting me over, and right away I was trying to roll in behind my arm before I brought him out past his shoulder. And when I went to do that, as soon as I started rolling, I just felt crunch, crunch, crunch in my elbow. Purple from here to here after. It was about 4 months after I got back from the Washington tournament. I still wasn't quite able to straighten my arm out all the way, so I went to my physio and was like, hey, like, this has bothered me for a while. I can't straighten my arm out. And turned out my elbow had been dislocated for about fucking 3 or 4 months, and I was everything else throughout the process, right? So he kind of grabbed her and gave her a snap back into place, and game, right? So
carried on for months with a dislocated elbow. I dislocated my left elbow when I was like 9, and I cried for 3 months. You're walking around with a dislocated elbow.
Well, yeah, just partially where I couldn't fully extend it. Like once I got to this position, it felt like my elbow was hyperextending. So I was like, oh, what's going on here? And he kind of snapped her back into place, and turned out it had been dislocated for a while. So
man, my favourite bit in that match is after round 3, you get the pin, and then you just start telling the crowd that you're just warming up.
Yeah, well, I was, because I just started to figure it out, right? I was like, oh, here we go. You know,
I'm just warming up, big boy.
I got it now.
I thought, here we go.
And all I was thinking about was the stop and the pin. I wasn't thinking about everything else I was doing in between. Yeah, so, but it was just one of them awe moments, right? You know. So
it's so good. And then so that was the end of the 400 series. On to the 500 series. 502, you didn't get off to the best start. What happened with Todd Hutchings? Was he that good? Were you just having an off day?
At the time, I pulled, I would say, probably the biggest, strongest Todd Hutchins that had ever stepped up to a table.
Yeah, he looked massive. He looked strong as.
Like he weighed in 8 pounds more when he had pulled me than when he had pulled Devon. And on a man with a 5'10" frame, 8 pounds is a lot. I didn't think he was going to give me as much. I had a bunch of personal shit just kind of fucking slam into me prior to when I went there. My head wasn't quite there. Like I couldn't think straight, but also at the same time, like Todd was ready. I think that was probably the most prepared I'd ever seen Todd come into a match. So he completely exposed my bicep. I was setting up, I was driving. I'd get the hit on him, but as I'd hit out, I'd separate my arm from my shoulder with that side pressure when you're exposed all in them tendons and the ligaments. I didn't have what I needed to be able to hold him or transition to a better position from there. So, but he was, he definitely the most side pressure I've ever felt off of an opponent.
Yeah, well, that's all he knows. But yeah, there was something different when I remember watching it live last year, and I was like, Matt's there, but he's not. And then
I was there, and it was weird because I was going in. I was probably in the best shape I had ever. I felt phenomenal. My head was completely not there.
Yeah.
It was up until about 2 days before that match, but shit happens, right? You know what I mean? He showed up physically prepared, mentally prepared. He had a better day. So
and I don't think
and had I been more mentally prepared, would it have gone different? Possibly. But like Todd was feeling so good that day, there's probably a chance even if I was more mentally in the game, he probably still could have done the same thing that he did to me, right? So like physically I felt I wasn't the heaviest I'd ever been, but I was definitely the leanest, strongest I'd ever felt in a long, long time. So but shit happens.
That's just what happens. And if your mind's, it just proves there. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If you're not mentally strong or you're 1%, 2% off, whatever you were that day, it wrecks you. It happened to Jeff Hale when he pulled Adam Wilmot. he wasn't ready mentally and he was down 2-0, was lucky enough to win. And yeah, I don't think people just understand how important the mental side of arm wrestling is, especially at your level.
Well, and that's the thing. Like they all they see is the 5 minutes, 10 minutes that we're standing on the table. We live regular lives just like the rest of the people. We make mistakes. We do stupid things. Different shit affects us too, right? So we're human, right? So.
Oh, absolutely. And the difference is because a lot of us fans of arm wrestling, especially myself, I watch a lot of other professional sports, but they've got millions and millions of dollars. You know what I mean? You've got to get up. You've got to go to work. You've got a family to look after, a lovely wife, lovely three little girls. Then you've got to fit in your 2 to 4 hours of training per day, as well as be a dad, a husband, and things like that. I think people just don't understand. Yeah, you're on ESPN, but you're not getting ESPN kind of money.
No, fuck no. So I was getting ESPN money. You know how nice that'd be?
Oh, it'd be unreal. That's,
less stresses in the world.
What people need to understand, like you come to Australia, we get you over 4 years ago, but I don't think people realise you're sleeping in people's guest rooms. You're not at the Hilton, you're not at the Plaza, you're not in these beautiful things, you're driving an hour away from where you're supposed to be so you can stay, in someone's guest bedroom. And being 6'5", it's probably a double bed and your feet are probably hanging off the bed. So someone give Matt Maher some of that ESPN money or Fox Sports 1 money. If you're going to play his matches, give him some of that money.
Yeah, give me some of that fucking money.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all about the professional arm wrestlers because unfortunately what's going to happen if this arm wrestling takes off in, say, 10 years and, Fox Sports 1 and ESPN, they all start making arm wrestlers full-time athletes, well, it may just be a bit late for you guys. So that's why I tell anyone that comes on the show, give these guys the money they deserve. They're professional athletes. Anyway, that's my rant. I
hope I'm still at the level I'm at now in 10 years. So
yeah, you'll be right. So then you finished the 500 series off strong. You smashed Sylvain 3-0.
Yeah,
we'll get back to that one, and then you smashed Gasparani 3-1 when he came back. I think people, especially European pullers, I think they just.
Oh, they were butthurt, eh?
Oh!
Many of them were fucking butthurt.
How much were they? Especially when my favourite thing was you won 3-1, and European arm wrestling's different to WAL. The pads are different. They're two different games, and you've got to adjust. It's
no holds barred.
Yeah.
It's more like a street fight compared to a taekwondo fight, right?
Oh, but then there was some footage, and you guys were after pulling. And after pulling and mucking around is so much different to a comp. So I think there's some footage. I guess Baaaanng just gets a pin on you.
It's funny because I ended up sending him a message as soon as he had actually posted that on Instagram. I go back to my hotel room, I'm laying back in the bed, and it wasn't even like after pulling, practice pulling means fucking nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like absolutely nothing. I got guys that come here and practice with me that are 185 pounds and put my fucking arm down.
Yeah.
And who fucking cares? It's practice, and that's exactly how I took it. I went up to the table and he was like, oh, hey, I want to feel. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I had felt kind of bad just by how I was acting when I was at the table. I don't really realize what I'm doing at the time. And then kind of flashes will kind of come back to me. And I was like, fuck, I was kind of a dick, So I'll go up, apologize or whatever. He's like, hey, you want to pull? I'm like, oh, absolutely, man. So I just literally just grabbed onto him. I didn't fight for a grip. Had it had been a real match, there's no way we would have actually started in that position.
No.
And it was just like, I don't fight for position on practice tables. I don't. I could care less. Put my arm down, put it fucking down. If it's going to make you feel better about yourself, go home with a fucking smile on your fucking face and feel 6 feet fucking taller, to me, it means nothing. Like, if I put somebody's arm down in practice, it's practice. Oh, I must be feeling pretty good today. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it is. And I didn't even realize there was videotaping going on. It was either his girlfriend or he had like a little pocket pal he had with him, one of his buddies. And he was videotaping it. And I didn't even realize until it was afterwards. And I grabbed onto him and he starts going. And I was, oh, wow, you feel so strong. Oh, that wrist feels so good. And I was trying to boost his fucking ego up. You know what I mean? Because I had honestly felt I had kind of crushed his ego a little bit when he came to pull me, because he was supposed to be the best arm top roller in the world. And here he's making his big comeback. He traveled for 3 fucking days in a tiny little plane to get his ass to the States. And then I made him look like a fucking fool, right? So it was more an ego boost I had thought for him. I didn't think it was a political move to be like, no, see, look, I actually really won that match because when we were in the back room with no refs on a table and I got the exact grip I wanted, I was able to beat him, you know? So it was, I don't know, I thought it was like, it made me lose a lot of respect for him. Lastly, like prior to going in, I had nothing but respect for him. I still think he's a great athlete. The shit that he's accomplished, how he performs when he is on the table and he's winning, it's entertaining as fuck. As a person, I believe he's still a child. You know what I mean? That's my take on it.
Bang!
You get your fucking ass handed to you, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a sec, can I grab you like this? And then I put you down, and then you post that video, look how much stronger and better I am. No, you're a fucking child. Fucking loss. Honestly, yeah. Take the fucking loss and fucking go fucking home. You know what I mean? Figure out where the fuck you went wrong, and it had nothing to do with Bart fucking him or me fucking him or anything on the table. He came in thinking he was going to pull his fucking WAF European fucking arm wrestling stuff, and he was going to take it. WL is a no holds barred. The ref is set you up somewhat fair, somewhat straight. The first match, he had won. There was no complaints there, but he had started more in the better position he won. I literally shaken his hand the 2-3 days prior to. It felt like I was holding on to a fucking girl's hand, right? Like, I swear to God. Like, it was completely fucking different than when I gripped up to him on the table. Every time I'd shake his hand, I was like, oh my God. Like, even Todd Hutchins has a little hand, and he came up to me. He's like, oh, have you met Gasparini? I'm like, oh, I met him earlier. He's like, did you shake his hand? And I was like, oh my God. He's like, I felt like my daughter's hand. And I was like, man, this guy is so fucked. So I literally went in thinking, because you could tell lots by shaking somebody's hand. You know what I mean? You can feel the wrist strength. You feel maybe it was part of his game, but it literally felt like he was going in with 3 fingers and limp noodling me, right? So I shook his hand, and I'm just like, man, this guy is in serious fucking trouble. As soon as we went up, we slipped. I'm like, oh yeah, he's got some good back pressure there. We went into that strap, thumbs down, close your hand. I wasn't going for what I usually like to go for. As soon as he closed his hand, and I realized, oh shit, this dude is the real deal. You know what I mean? I felt the strap tighten up in my hand. And by that time I didn't have what I needed. He had exactly where he wanted to be. He had a little bit of a cup. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to fucking do this again, motherfucker. Right? We're going to set it up. This time I ain't going to let you get what you want. Because he was trying to get his little cup with the back pressure beginning. And as he's tried to do that in the previous matches, all I did was give him a little bit of this and cock blocked him from getting what he wanted. And every time he went to get into his position, just from that pressure I had, he was buckling his own fucking wrist. So it had nothing to do with Bart screwing him or anybody else. It was the lack of experience he had in the WL setup, his cocky attitude coming in going, oh, I'm the fucking man. I'm going to rip their ass. I don't need to study the WL setup. Well, he had a whole fucking world awakening when he fucking gripped up with him. And he was butthurt over it. And it hurt him so bad where he had to post a practice video of after pulling afterwards to try to build his credit back up. That's how much I fucking brought him back down to reality. These Europeans are like, oh, them North Americans are garbage. And because they're, in their world, they're way the fuck up here because they can do that shit for a fucking living. They don't have real jobs where they need to go fucking build fences and work on drilling rigs and do construction and concrete to make a living because their government funds the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
You know what? So they have the time to do what they need to do, and they should be way the fuck up here. The fact that somebody that was down here and they were hoping that I was more around maybe in this area came in and brought that motherfucker down here to my level, it butt hurt the fuck out of all of them. And it was a topic for about 3-4 weeks after. I had people messaging me saying, you fucked him and I used to like you as a fan and you're dead to me and I hope you die. And I was just like, wow, like, holy shit, you know.
Wow.
He was doing the exact same thing to me, except I was better at preventing him from letting him get what he wanted. It was simple as that. And with WL, that's what it is. It's not just 100% completely fair. You need to fight for your setup a little bit. You need to fight for your position. You need to tweak a little bit. There may be a little bit of adjusting you need to do. But he was doing the same thing, except I was cock blocking him from getting where he wanted, and he didn't understand how it was happening. So he was fucking lost. You know what I mean? So, but afterwards, he made up for it all when we were in the back room on the practice table, right? You know, like I almost fucking wanted to give him half of my fucking money because he had been so much better than me, right? You know, like it was like, man, you know. So as a human being, I've lost so much fucking respect for that person as just for how he reacted towards it. You know what I mean? Like I've lost to people in matches and I've been fucked, like straight out fucked by the competitor, by the fucking ref. Shit wasn't called that was supposed to be called. And you don't see me posting shit on fucking Facebook, whining, complaining, doing anything about it. I fucking go home and I train harder. I figure out what he did to me, on why he fucked me, and what I got to do to prevent him from fucking me in the ass again. And next time, I'm going to come in that much better and more prepared for it. You know what I mean? And him, it was a complete fucking opposite, right? So I personally, as far as I'm concerned, he's got the mentality of a fucking child. That's my opinion.
This is the best. Oh, I cannot thank you enough for that story. And not only that, I was entertained on social media for weeks after that match because, when
it was funny. I didn't even have to justify anything. I didn't even fucking go on and say this is what happened. This is the first time in public where people can go onto a video and actually hear my side of the fucking story because I've never fucking told it. I've told the odd friend or here and there, but I could fucking care less. Like, it means nothing to me. If that's what you want to believe and that's what you want to think, then go ahead, you know. But it was for like 4 weeks after. It was like the talk of everything. I didn't even have to say anything. I just sat back and I let everybody else fight my fucking battle for me. You know what I mean? Like, you had the Europeans. And then you had everybody else in the fucking world saying, shut your fucking pie holes. You know what I mean? Like, get over it. He fucking lost. You know what I mean? So, and if we do it again, I'll probably do the same fucking thing to him.
Yes!
You know? It's like, to me, it means nothing, you know? Like, and you know what? I'll probably let him fucking beat me again on the after table, and I'll let him videotape it too so he can show the fucking world again, right? So we'll just do it all over again.
Oh, that is the best. Absolutely, that is the best. I'm fathom. Every time I post a video and a European loses, I always get, Dennis is the best, rah rah. Oh, LeBron's the best, rah rah. And I'm just a minuscule to what you are in the arm wrestling world, and that is probably my most favourite story ever. And I'm glad you just went on a massive rant about it. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, you next time you come to Australia and you teach me a couple of things and you let me pin you, I'm going to tell the world I beat Matt Mars. And you do back up what you say.
You better have the video camera going. Yeah. Right? You better have the video camera going. So.
And you do back up what you say, because I've just talked about 3 losses, and you never once bitched about it. You never once blamed anyone about it. You know, we just talked about losses then. So good. Pin him again, and then one more time after that. And then go to WAF and pin him, just to prove something.
Yeah.
That is
they don't pay enough in WAF. As far as I'm concerned, it ain't worth it.
Yeah. Well, then going back, you beat Sylvain 3-0, but you were supposed to pull Michael Todd, but they wanted to save him for the hammer match. Did that annoy you that you weren't for the hammer match, you know? Or
I honestly, like how it had just unfolded, had I beaten Hutchins, yeah, I should have possibly had a chance at Michael Todd. Wouldn't have been for the hammer because I didn't beat Jerry previous year.
Yeah.
I didn't beat Devon the previous year. So a hammer match would have been uncalled for.
Okay.
Exhibition match, yes.
Yeah.
Me just losing to a former 195-pounder going up against the super heavyweight fucking champion of WAL was ludicrous, right? I think they had thought I was initially going to beat Todd Hutchins. I thought I was too. And they thought I was going to beat Todd, and then it would have been a good little mix of the story to throw me against Todd. I ended up losing. The match didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Was I disappointed that I didn't get a chance on him? Absolutely. I thought I would have been able to give him a lot more than majority of the world thinks I would be able to give him. I wanted to really prove myself and see what I could have done with him. I had a few different game plans, a few things up my sleeve I was going to try. But as for me deserving it, no, I didn't fucking deserve it. So I was bitter I didn't get my chance to prove myself, but at the same time I wasn't
justified
over it because I didn't deserve a shot at him. Do I want to pull him? Yes. Of course I'd love to.
You want to pull the best. That's who you are. You're a competitive beast.
Yeah, but I want to earn it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to pull Jerry again. I want to get that win back from Jerry. I want to pull Devon. I want to get my win that I feel I should have gotten on Devon. I want to earn that spot against him, not just given to me because I'm entertaining on the table and it could be an interesting match. Like when I pull Michael Todd or whoever's holding the fucking hammer at that point for that matter, I want it to be because he fucking earned it and he's going for the hammer. It's not just an exhibition match, because if it was an exhibition match and I beat him, it'd be like, well, what the fuck, right? I should be the hammer holder, but it's not. So it didn't really, it bothered me, but at the same token, I knew where I stood and how everything should work, so I wasn't really butthurt over it. You know, I was like, yeah, that's right, I didn't deserve a shot, you know. So
it's pretty cool that you think of it that way. I was very interested when I found that out that they were saving Michael Todd, and then you go on to win your next 2 matches as we spoke about. So then I'm going to try and get you here. Who are we going to pull in the 600 series?
I don't know yet.
I know everyone's sworn to secrecy. I know you know who you're supposed to pull. Everyone's sworn to secrecy.
I've heard some few names floating around. I've heard possible rematch with Hutchins. I've heard possible rematch with Jerry. I've heard possibly the other Canadian, Espy. I've heard possibly bringing in somebody from outside of WL, like Credentia. Like I've heard.
Oh yeah, the big Polish.
So there's a bunch of other Europeans that they had mentioned that I don't even know who they are. Probably should Google search them, find out what they are. Like if I do end up going against them, then I'm more prepared. But I usually don't do too much research on my opponent until I know I'm going to be going against them. So, like if I'm watching a video of something, I'm like, oh, okay, I think I know what I would do here or whatnot. But I don't really dissect it like I would if they said, this is who you're pulling, here's your contract signer, and let's get her done with. Then I'd completely dial in and try to focus on exactly what that person's doing, right? So,
yeah. And then speaking of opponents, you're about a main event soon, hopefully, if all goes well. You're going to take on Ron Barth in the TAF. That's coming along now. Last podcast, Ron Barth predicts 3-1 to him if he can get your hand. Not letting out any secrets. Everyone watches the podcast. Ron's a champion. First of all, what does it take for Matt Mask to main event? No disrespect to Jeff Frank. It's amazing what he's doing, but a smaller company. What does it take for Matt to main event it? And what's your prediction in the match with Ron?
For main event, well, I'm good buddies with Jeff, right?
Oh,
so
that helps.
He trains with me. I'm kind of helping him get this thing going. I've been sitting on my ass for the last 11 months, itching, looking for purpose, waiting to get out there to do something. So I need something to motivate. Right? As for me and Ron, my prediction, I couldn't give you one right now. I don't really know exactly where I stand. The last, I'd say, 8-9 months, I've had some major things going on, a whole bunch of stuff changing my life. My mental head definitely was not there, was not into it. I was down to like 215 pounds, not eating properly, just shit going on. Last 3 months, in particular, 4 months, I've been doing a shit ton of mental work on myself just to better my train of thought, make myself a better person all in general, all the way around, in areas that I know I've slacked in my life in. So for mentally, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to go. This is kind of my test. I want to kind of see where I stand. And also I'm using it as a way to motivate me to feel like I've got more purpose and goals, something to strive for, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's just, I don't know. I got a different game plan. I'm going in with Ron. Me and Ron were kind of a back and forth. He'll beat me. I'll beat him.
Some amazing matches.
So it's unpredictable. I know Ron is feeling really good. Like, the dude's, in my eyes, has been one of the top 20 arm wrestlers in the world for the last 20 fucking years.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I don't believe he's gotten any shittier as an arm wrestler over the last 10 or 15 years. I think he's just as good, if not better, than he was 10, 15 years ago. I feel the sport itself has progressed to where there's more people able to kind of be on his level.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, it was him, John, and Travis. Yeah. Like, there were very many people that were able to compete with either Ron or John, right? They were kind of the top two every time they went somewhere. So just being able, just the fact that I used to watch Ron, John, all these guys, even Devon in the day, and look up to them and be like, oh, I wish I can be there someday, and I hope I can compete with them. Just the fact that I consider Ron kind of a close friend of mine. We talk back and forth. The fact that he's going to make a prediction of me pulling him and he's not going to clean sweep the shit out of me, to me, that feels good. You know what I mean? The fact that I can go on the table with him and I know he's not just going to destroy me. He may beat me, I may beat him, but the fact that I'm going to be able to make it a show, and the fact that I'm able to bang at the same level as Ron fucking Bath is, to me, I've reached my goal, right? You know, now everything else is more, let's see how far I can go. You know what I mean? So I've hit the level that I've always wanted to be at. Now it's let's see how much more I can bring out of this, right? So.
Ah, man, can you
this is
stop
more
getting
test
any cooler? You're just becoming cooler. You talk about how you're improving your mental health, which is very hard for a strong man to do. You help out your mate Jeff and headline a show to get his company up. You respect the veterans of the sport. Stop being so cool, Matt. Stop being awesome.
Yeah, fuck that old cunt though. I'm gonna rip his arm. Yeah, I'm just worried I might break him at his age. The son of a bitch probably has osteoporosis and everything else. If COVID doesn't kill me, breaking his fucking arm will.
Alrighty. Now, we've had some rants. I love playing a few games on the show. So I've got a couple of games for you. The first game is to Matt mask your emotions or not Matt mask your emotions. I'm going to ask you some questions, and it's up to you if you want to answer them. If you want to answer them, fantastic. If you don't want to answer them, just move on. So to either Matt mask or not Matt mask your emotions. You're always seen in WAL wearing the headphones as you walk down to the table. What music are you listening to?
I'm usually listening to motivation speeches, shit like that, right? There's best motivation. Most of it's cut parts from movies where Rocky's doing his talk or Al Pacino's talking to players in any given Sunday, shit like that, right? The one where there was that one speech that the guy used to say to all the football players all the time, fucking, what am I? I am a champion.
Oh,
like that.
yes. Yeah, Paul Lydon and all that.
So
I
got a bunch of shit like that. So I got a bunch of those that I'll listen to pretty much leading up. And for some reason, I don't know, the hair stands up on the back of my head and the goosebumps come out. For some reason, it just gets me revved, right? So, there's the one basketball player was talking about, why can't I be the best basketball player in the league? Why can't I be the MVP of the league, right? Just hearing that's enough where it's like, yeah, why the fuck can't I do this? You know what I mean? I put in the time, put in the effort. It just gives me that extra little bit of a oomph, right?
Oh, yeah. That's cool. Who is the most awkward puller you've ever pulled?
Oleg.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
He's got a 2x4 bolted on the back of his hand. It's like arm wrestling a foot, right? So.
That's amazing. Where's the most, now you can always pass on the question. Where's the most awful or weirdest place you've ever pulled where you've just turned up and you've gone, really? Really?
I don't think I've said that anywhere I've gone.
Oh. That's pretty cool.
And as long as there's an arm wrestling table there, I don't think it really matters where the fuck I am, right? So.
Yeah. A promoter that you'll just never pull for. If someone just comes up to you and go, mate, we want you on the show, and you just go, nah, don't like you.
I like everybody.
Yeah, you've got that vibe there, yeah? You've got that vibe. Because then the next question was, is there a puller that you just can't stand? But you're just awesome. You're aggressive, and we think you hate everyone on the table because you scream and shout, but you're just an absolute ripper dude off the table. Right, the next game, you got 3 options. You've got to pin one, you've got to lose to one, and you've got to tell one, fuck off from the 600 series on WAL. So pin one, lose to one, get rid of one. So you're 3...
I don't understand that question.
All right, so I'm going to give you the names of three pullers, and you have to choose one that you're going to pin, one that you're going to lose to, and one you're going to ban them from the 600 series.
Okay.
All right. So Devon, Michael Todd, and Todd Hutchings. So who are you going to pin?
I want to pin them all. Well, I'm going to say Devon just because I'm going to pin Devon.
Yeah.
Just because it's always that thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to lose to Todd Hutchins because he's a smaller guy and I don't mind. And I like Todd. So it'll be good for him to see people beat me again, right? We'll see him again. And ban him. Let's ban Michael Todd.
And you're banning him. Drop the
hammer. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Stand up or get the fuck out. Hey.
Yes, that is magnificent. Yeah, he's probably the most hated man in arm wrestling at the moment. I quite like him. I don't mind the kid.
I don't mind him.
Yeah.
It's and it's still in the rules.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing you can do as long as you keep your shoulder, everything else. I think it's sloppy. I don't think it looks good. I personally don't think it's the best, sending the best signal out for the sport, what it is. But hey, it's still fair game, right? And there is ways around it. It's just a lot smaller of a loophole than majority of the other people, right?
Oh, absolutely. And he's found a way to win. So why, no point changing it. That's quite interesting. So you're pinning Devon, you're losing the Todd Hutchings, and Michael Todd needs to stand up or get out. That's the best. That is the best. All right, these next ones, you're not allowed to think. They're just quick fire questions. Not allowed to think. I'm just going to fire some questions at you and you answer. Do you prefer super matches or tournaments?
Both.
Both. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they both have their areas, right? So tournaments are awesome because you can get a chance to pull so many different people depending on how the brackets are lined up. It could be an advantage, disadvantage. There's just so many different outcomes to a tournament. If you can have someone that consistently go to tournaments and place top in all the tournaments, they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Because brackets don't always work out in your favor, and you still find a way to claw yourself to that top 3 every time. That says a lot about you, right?
Oh, especially if you're on the B side, absolutely.
Yeah, and super matches are great because you get the opportunity to find out who is the best between two people fresh for fresh. Yeah. You know what I mean? Spend months or weeks or however long it is preparing for that certain opponent on where you think he's going to be weak in your mind, right? So depends on if you're able to read him properly or not, right?
Oh, absolutely. Do you prefer WAL or Arm Wars?
WAL because they pay better.
They pay better. Yeah. Do you?
And I personally like get my own grip. I hate fight. I like grip and rip. Thumbs down, close your hands, go. There's no hesitation on, it's like, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's the fairest grip you can get.
Ah, there you go.
In my eyes, it's the fairest grip because as soon as you go up to an opponent and you thumbs down and you close your hand, you can tell a lot about your opponent just by gripping up with them. So it's pretty much you get one chance to do it right. As soon as you go up and you grab a grip, okay, well, no, that don't feel right. That don't feel right. That don't feel right. You'll sit there and you'll play a back and forth game until somebody throughout it has an advantage. Yeah. And the other person is just willing to settle. And that's usually how it works. Both 100% fucking comfortable. With WAL, you got your webbing even, you've got your wrists are straight, you close your hands, you can't get a fairer grip than that as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So there's no constantly readjusting, going for your advantage. It's you're getting your advantage on the first grip, you don't got it, well, maybe try next round, right? So.
Bang. Good. That's a cracking insight, actually. Do you prefer football or ice hockey?
Football. I don't watch either of them, to tell you the truth.
There you go. Do you have trouble texting or typing with your dodgy fingers? Do you ever have trouble?
No, I use my thumbs.
Did you ever watch Degrassi Junior High?
No.
No! Damn it! I thought I was onto something there. A cracking Canadian high school TV show.
I was having too much fun being a little shit outside when I was a kid. I never watched much TV, so still don't watch much TV. The only time the TV's on is when I'm with the kids. So
yeah, nice. And the last question: are you sick of people calling you Logan Paul?
Who's Logan Paul?
I could imagine. Every time I put up one of your matches that I do the commentary on, everyone's like, "Oh my god, it looks like Logan Paul." And then I watch some, over the time, watch a lot of your interviews, and everyone's like, "Oh, you look like Logan Paul." And I was like, "Man, I'd be sick of hearing about that."
It doesn't even bother me. So not much bothers me anymore. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Right, 2 more things before we wrap up. My man, Matt, you've been like one of the most fun people on the show. I need you to nominate someone to come onto the podcast. So we'll do that now. So if you can think of someone that would have a bit of fun on the podcast.
Who have you had so far?
So I've had Ryan Bowen, Mike Aiello, Tom Holland, Ron Barth, Justin Bishop, and Paul Lynn.
Fuck, they all sound so boring. Let's twist it up a bit here. I'll give you somebody interesting to talk to. Let's go fucking Jonathan Laba. I know you no filter Laba. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to see what he can bring forth with you two fucking chatting back and forth. He's
yes.
He's one of my most favorite fucking people. That dude, you get around him, I'll have a gut ache in fucking 10 minutes fucking shooting the shit with that guy.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I need your impersonation at the start of the podcast or at the start of every match. I go, ready, bang! That's my catchphrase. I need to see Matt Mast do my catchphrase.
You need to see me do your catchphrase. Yeah. All right, ready, bang!
Yes! There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are wrapping this up. I cannot thank you enough, Matt, for taking the time out and having a chat with me. If you're a promoter, pay the man. I know people from ESPN or Fox Sports 1 watch the podcast. Pay the man his money. I'm a big fan of that. If you're on all the social medias, get a hold of Total Arm Wrestling League with his super match with Ron Barth. Get heaps of views so more people can get around and absolutely keep booking Matt Mask and keep paying him. Matt, I cannot thank you enough for being on the show.
All right, man. The pleasure was all mine, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, you absolute legends, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe and tell all your mates about the show. And as always, ready, bang!